I appreciate your patience, teachers. Thank you so much for being so patient with us. And we will start in few minutes as it is on your screen at 3:30 sharp. In spite of the natural calamity or the rains that's pouring outside our walls, you have been so nice to be a part of this webinar. So we will start exactly at 3:30. Kindly stay muted throughout the session as well. Thank you. Teachers, we will start in a minute, but before we get into the day's session, there is a poll on your screen. Uh, you'll be seeing a question which states, yeah, it's on your screen as you see. Did you attend our previous webinar? Click on yes if it's a yes. If this is your first webinar, say no. If you've attended the previous two sessions, say yes.
Sylvia, just make the
All right, teachers. We appreciate your participation in the poll. Um, The number of participation, as I told you, the minute I speak, it's increasing. And on my screen, I see 406. Oh, now it's 407 and it's increasing. Like the India playing against Australia, it's increasing. Fine. Anyways, we will start this day's session with the agenda of the day. Okay, we will have a general instructions for teachers who are new. And give me a second, we'll have the poll results of how many people are new for the day's session. Oh, that's a big number. Fine. Anyways, for those who are new for the webinar, this is our third webinar. Kindly stay muted throughout the session. And if you have any technical queries, like in between the session you get disconnected, or if such discomfort is there, there is a screen, there is a number on your screen. Kindly make a note. There are two numbers to be exact. You can make a note of those two numbers and you can call our executives for technical help. Fine. So there's a question answer session at the end of the speaker's talk. If you have any doubts or question that is to be asked in relations with the webinar topic, you can post your questions in the chat box if you have joined with us in Zoom, in the comment section if you are joined with us in YouTube. So if it's a YouTube, uh, mention it as @host and then post your comment. And yeah, the next registration. So as for those who are not here for the first time, you all know that this is a series of webinars that we have been conducting dealing with a global experiment. So that is the main topic. So we have divided into many segments, and today's session will be the third part of the webinar. You can register yourself for the next webinar that is to happen on 10th of December. You can register yourself at the end of the session. There will be a link in your chat box if you have joined in Zoom. Again, if it's YouTube that you have connected to us, you can see that in the description box, not in the comment section, but in the description box. So you can register for the next session. And another way of getting in touch with us is you can subscribe to our YouTube channel TechnoSchool, so that you'll be getting a constant notification if there is such webinar that is happening in the future. Okay, and the feedback form. I hope and I believe for those who have already attended our previous two webinars, you would have received your certificate. If not, the process of sending you the certificate is still on. So you will be receiving a certificate upon filling the feedback form. So how do you fill this feedback form? Again, at the end of the session, like after the question and answer session, and after you register, then there will be a link put in your chat box if you're connected in Zoom again. And if you are connected to us in YouTube, it will be in the description session. You will be the link will be enabled. You can click on the link, fill in the feedback form. It will be more like one yes or no type question, one or two questions wherein you'll have to type it. So once you fill the feedback form, click submit, and those who send the feedback form will receive the certificate for the webinar. Okay, as I told you earlier, kindly stay muted throughout the session. About TechnoSchool, we are not new to a lot of people. But for a few, we are new. So here is a small video on what TechnoSchool is. I'll take you through the video. So what is TechnoSchool basically? We provide ICT education for schools. And so what do I mean by ICT education? So we provide a curriculum, a product, and online assessment for the subject of computers. Why do you need us? See, and the technological era, we are in the technological era, and every day there is a new technology coming up. We have to have our students empowered with this technology, right? So that is where we come in. We bridge in this gap. So we basically design our curriculum in such fashion that our students are not, they don't feel like they are left out. Okay, so we started from nearly 15 years back. So we are in different locations all around Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Telangana, Andhra, and also we are in the northern India. So apart from India, our presence is felt here. As you see on your screen, we are there in 15 different locations. So apart from India, our presence is also felt in United Arab Emirates. So we are successfully running a company in India and as well as UAE. So basically in UAE, we started in the year 2015, and as you see, we're successful there as well. Value-added services. So if you are if you are an organization or a company that provides computer science, where does this webinar come into place? So this type of webinar are these type of webinars are a value-added service that we give to schools. So for teachers, we basically for customer schools, we give them technical training and workshops on basis of the product that they choose. For students, we also provide value-added services for students, and for them, we give career-oriented classes. So if there are two students of 10th and 12th, we give them career-oriented classes, and for other students, it will be motivational talk. So these are the value-added services that we provide to our customer schools. And you can keep in touch with us through the social media handles. So how to get to us? So you can keep in touch with us through the social media handles that you see on your screen. Were there all possible social media handles: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and I told you a few minutes back, we're there in YouTube as well. If you subscribe, you'll be able to receive our notification. If there's any technical difficulties in your audio or not able to hear me properly, you can contact our technical support, the number that I displayed some time back. I hope all of you can hear me, right? Okay, fine. Thank you, teachers. I see few hands going up, so that means that's a good sign, and all of you can hear me. And these are our social media handles. There's the YouTube. So it we together can make a big change is what is our mantra. So you and we, like you and I makes we, so we together can make a big change in the life of the student. So that is about TechnoSchool. So as we speak, the numbers are going up. The number of participation is 1495. Okay. And people who get disconnected and not able to join, you can see the live stream in the YouTube. If there is some technical difficulties uh, uh, and you're not able to get back into the session, you'll be able to see view the live streaming in YouTube. Okay. Oh, and Techno Talent Fest is another value-added services that we provide to schools. This is a yearly competition that we conduct all over India and as well as in UAE. We have this competition. We give an opportunity. We provide a platform for the schools to pick or identify their tech geniuses. So these are few photos that you see on the screen are Techno Talent Fest that happened in UAE and as well as India. So I already gave you these numbers: 15 years in business and 500 different locations, 850 plus schools, and the social media handles as well. You're familiar with which we did, which you just now saw in the video. Okay, today's session, the best part of the day. It definitely will not be my talk, but the best part of the day would be the session. Okay, experiences and impact. Each and every day, each and every day that we live will sculpt or mold our tomorrow. Correct? I hope you'll agree with me on that. So this lockdown time, how much how much impact is it putting in each and every individual of us? So how is it going to change our tomorrow? Knowingly or unknowingly, we are undergoing a lot of changes because of this lockdown. So how can psychological changes, how are these psychological changes affecting us? So we'll have to always have a check on that, right? Not just our physical self and also our mental health, we'll have to keep a check on. So as teachers, we know that there is a saying, today's children are tomorrow leaders, are tomorrow's leaders. So, but we forget like how these children become a leader. It is in the part of the teachers. We are making the future leaders. So it is a duty that is fall upon us. Like, how do we mold them? How do we understand these psychological changes? And that is the topic for the day, the school in my room. And do you see a picture on the left of your screen? There is a wooden plank. There are nails that are hammered onto it. And right below the nails, like 5 or 7 nails that are hammered onto the block. And you see few nails have been plucked out and there is impression of the nails that were present there. This is exactly what the lockdown or any situation that is doing to us, especially this lockdown. Since we're talking about the lockdown, let's just keep it there. This is exactly what it is doing to us. We might not know what sort of impact it is putting on us or imparting into the students, but there are changes. There are different psychological changes. Okay, so we'll just keep that in mind and with the open ears and open mind, attend or listen to today's session. And it is my duty to introduce the speaker of the day. And we have Dr. Sylvia Daisy. Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, Sharon, I can hear you.
Thank you. And so that's Miss Dr. Sylvia Daisy for you. And it is a duty upon me to introduce the speaker. And I really am extremely happy to introduce ma'am to you. She has an experience in the teaching, in the field of teaching for nearly 2 decades or more. And basically, she is a community development specialist. She is an author. She is a counselor. We're extremely happy to have a multidimensional person such as herself to be a part of this webinar and give us this talk. And to add on, ma'am is also a board member of Commonwealth Organization for Social Works from the year 2012. She has been an instrument in making policy level changes in promoting social works in Commonwealth countries. So we know what Commonwealth countries are, and so with that as a warm introduction, I hand over the session to Dr. Sylvia Daisy. Ma'am, you can take over.
Yes, Sharon, I would like to share my PPT.
Okay, I'll stop the share and you can proceed from there on. Ma'am, you're able to share your screen. Is the option enabled? Yes.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Nice meeting you all here. In this session, really happy to address teachers on the topic school in my room. So it's all about students in teenage, 11 years to 18 years. So I'm Dr. Sylvia, Associate Professor, Social Work Department, Self-Finance Stream, Madras Christian College. Now, what do we find, common in children between 11 to 18 years is the physical change. Physical change, when we focus on physical change, it is change in the height, change in the weight, change in body build, change in voice and texture, which are common among the children. We also find that in this stage, children attain puberty. There are children who attain puberty when they are 11 years old. There are children who attain puberty 14 years, 16 years. So in common, attainment of puberty is seen in this stage. So when we talk about attainment of puberty, it leads to physiological changes. Physiological changes, yeah. Okay, so there are many physiological changes happening in the children. I have a request, start my video. The co-host has added you to start your video. Should I say yes to this?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so we find that there are many physiological changes that happen in this stage. Associated to the physiological changes, we find that there are many hormones which are secreted, which leads to psychological changes. So we find in common that the brain, the reproductive organs, and the eyes of the child being connected. The brain, reproductive organs, and the eyes of the child being connected. So whatever the child is perceiving, goes into its thoughts, and it is also affecting the emotions and emotional health of the child. We find this. And there is also pressure on the teenage children about their sex appropriate role in society. Say, for example, girls, they are supposed to keep everything in order, manage home. Managing home becomes the responsibility of the girl child. So sex appropriate role in society is emphasized by the elders in the family, as well as by the relatives, by teachers, and the religious elders, etc. We also find that there are psychological, there is a kind of psychological impact because of this pressure. Not all children are happy in this pubescent stage. There are children who regret being in this stage. So young cat already regretting puberty. So this cartoon helps us to understand that there are children who are unhappy about the changes that are happening, within them. We also find that there are pressures or, information connected to teenage from different sources. So you find here in this cartoon, the good news is you are about to be attracted to girls, and the bad news is to be covered by pimples. So children worry about different things. Getting pimples, they worry about it. So how do I deal with this? That becomes a big issue, big problem for them. So how do I deal with this? And there is also other information which are not authentic, or information which is given to confuse the children through different media, where here you can find the good news is about to be attracted to girls. So is that a good news? I don't know. But in media, there is information relating to this. In different advertisements, you find this. So there is again pressure on the children about what's happening to me. Am I normal? Okay. So the child starts experimenting different things. We find that teens experiments with different thoughts, beliefs, and styles which cause family conflict. For some children, for few children, it becomes the end of innocence. Especially boys, you find them becoming dropout. For no reason, they'll become a dropout. Okay, so it is the stage where we see it as end of innocence. Okay, they keep having dreams because of the nocturnal emission. Okay, so every day there's a problem. Every day they get up, they have a different experience. They don't know what has happened. So they keep having dry dreams. All right. There are few children who land up with this problem of infatuation. They become deaf to the words of the parents, the elders, the teachers. So infatuation is common among few children in this stage. So what happens? There are children who make wrong decisions and they go to the school counselor, okay, to sort out the problems, where they get along with students or their own friends who are of different interest, and they become even antisocial elements, or they get into unwanted relationships and they go to the counselor in school. Right, now we may classify teenage into early teens, mid-teens and late teens. I have mentioned the age here. Early teens, in the sense 11 to 13 years, mid-teens 14 to 16 years, and late teens 17 to 19 years. In all these, we find that there are specific characteristics associated to all these three groups. Say, for example, early teens. What are the basic characteristics of these early teens? 11 to 13, we find that children in this stage, undergo a lot of physical changes, and they are more worried about those physical changes. Say, for example, putting on weight is a problem for children. Why am I becoming obese? Is a question. Why am I having pimples on my face? So early teens, 11 to 13, you find that children are worried about their physical problems. Then 14 to 16, this particular age, we find that puberty attainment has happened for majority of the children, and they have this problems associated to menarche and nocturnal emission. Menarche is a sign of puberty attainment for girls, and nocturnal emission is a sign of attaining that stage for boys. Boys have problem every day. Every day, if they do not have support, they will not understand what's happening to them. Similarly, girls do have problem once in 28 days or once in a month during the menstruation cycle. So a lot of support is required for mid-teens, 14 to 16 years. And we also find that in mid-teenage, the sexual behavior and experimentation with relationship with the opposite gender happens between 14 to 16 years. So heterosexual crushes we find at this stage and the related consequences. Then we also find homosexual experiences among children in 14 to 16 years. Then peer group pressure in this stage is high, and peer group is able to influence teenagers, maybe in a positive way or negative way, but majority who are influenced by peer group go in the negative direction. Okay, right. Then we come to the late teenage stage, 17 to 19 years. We find that a kind of negativism appearing in this stage. Negativism. So what is this negativism? The children keep on questioning for everything. They will question for everything. A kind of negativism, right? Then this is not equal to curiosity. Okay, so criticizing everything. Then children also have argument with parents when they are in this stage, late teenage, 17 to 19. They also experiment with different thoughts and beliefs, and there is a kind of role confusion which leads to moving away from parents or family in 17 to 18, late teenage. So we also find if we are having 70 students in our class, we find at least one or two who would be into infatuation or relationship with the opposite gender. They even go to the stage of getting married with those with a person whom they have this relationship. Okay, now with all these, we also find that the pandemic has brought many challenges. So what are the challenges? So I had conducted a survey and found that, these were the findings. Majority of the children are stressful. Majority of the children are stressful in this stage. When I ask them how are the online classes, they say it's so stressful, ma'am. No, we want to go back to class. We want physical class. So stressful is one thing that was found. Then they are saying class means only completing assignments, only deadlines, and we hate this. Okay. Then they also say they have no support from friends. They say when they go to school, about their homework, they have their friends who will remind them about this. So there is no support from friends, they say, during this pandemic, online classes, and when their school is into their room, they say they miss their friends. Then we also find that the lectures without video. There are teachers who only give lectures or only teach through the audio mode. They say they hate that. Okay, so lectures without video, is not preferred by students. Then they also say that distractions, when they use their mobile phone and attend classes, and once they get the message or anything else through WhatsApp, then they are carried away by that. So by the time they come back and settle, it takes at least 8 to 10 minutes for them to come back and settle in class, psychologically. And by the time they would have missed most of the things taught by the teacher. Then you also find that, the siblings at home being a trouble for few children, siblings at home. So when I attend my class, my brother comes and disturbs me. My sister comes and disturbs me. So siblings at home being a problem. Then for few children, parents being entrepreneurs, like they may be selling milk, be having a small petty shop through which they sell certain items. So parents being entrepreneurs is a problem. Then there are children who also said, having one single room and attending class is very, very difficult because the mother would be sweeping, cleaning up things, doing anything at home as she manages the home, and everything is seen in the video. So having one single room and attending class is actually stressful for at least 1/4 of the children. Then no gadgets and borrow from others. There are children who have no gadgets, no cell phone, no laptop, and they just go borrow from others. So this is also becoming a problem for few children. All right. So with all these challenges, the children are supposed to excel during this pandemic. They have to learn something. They need to be educated when we look at it from the teacher's side. So what are they supposed to do? Now, what is the responsibility of the teenagers? The teenagers need to accept the changing body. Now, how can teachers help in this aspect? They can tell stories. Rather than straight away starting with a science formula or a maths theory, they can tell stories. Okay, a small introduction where the child would be happy about accepting the changes that are happening. Okay, so accepting changing body. Then maintaining good health. The teachers can emphasize on how children could maintain good health. So few questions relating to whether they had their morning exercise or yoga or whatever. They can ask few questions related to that. Then they can continue with their lecture. Gender-specific role leading to satisfaction. Not stereotypes. Children should be taught about the gender-specific roles which actually give satisfaction to children. Then skills in interacting with both genders is very, very important. So that could be taught by the teacher. Maybe few WhatsApp groups could be formed for the children where children could interact amongst themselves. Then they can, the children need to think about their higher education, next class, vocation, etc. Then we also find that because of this pandemic and the normal challenges that they are facing because of this teenage, children's psychological health is affected, physical health is affected, physiological health is affected, social health is affected, and spiritual health is affected too. Right. Now, what are the children supposed to do if they have to grow healthy? The children should achieve independence from parents. Now, all of us are at home and the children are much protected and pampered and petted. Now, what happens? What would be the consequence? Children will become more dependent on parents. But what is required? The teacher should emphasize that they should become independent, do things on their own. So achieve independence from parents is something that teachers should emphasize on. Then the forming of a relationship, mature relationship, is very important, which needs to be achieved. The teacher can also emphasize on what is mature relationship, and what is love, what is infatuation, not to develop or get into problems of infatuation and love. This is important. It is becoming part of, responsibility of the teacher. Then socially sensitive citizens. The teacher needs to make the child, socially sensitive citizen. Then a workable philosophy with a mature set of values need to be taught. What is philosophy? The child should know that it stands for certain values. So promoting certain values. Okay, stand for certain values. This is important. Teachers can teach this. What are the roles of teachers again? Are students empty vessels where we can pour all our knowledge relating to maths and science, social science or English, any other language? Are they empty vessels? No. Who are teenagers? Teenagers are individuals with different needs: physical needs, psychological needs, social needs, spiritual needs. And in terms of India being a developing country, we find children having financial needs too. Okay, now school into the student's room. What is the teacher supposed to do? The teacher is supposed to understand the family. So how do we understand the family? Out of interest, the teacher has to make a home visit, family visit. Okay, if it is possible, because the students are staying only 3 kilometers away from the school. Okay, when we take our residents into account, maybe they are far away. Okay, right. So if possible, make a family visit. Have a phone conversation. If not a family visit, have a phone conversation with the parents, or a video call where you can see where the child is residing. Okay, where the child is attending the classes, what sort of an environment is created for the child to attend class. So it's very important that the teachers connect with, family members and also come to know the family environment. So perceive the child in its family environment is very important. Right. What are the other roles and responsibilities of a teacher? So teaching teenagers can be a rough time and it can test our relationship skills. If we look at it positively, it's a time for creative exploration. Children and teenage are more creative. So it is a time for creative exploration. What are we supposed to do in online classroom? Let us provide facilities for individual differences of children. There are children who learn through audio mode. There are children who learn through visual mode. So if we are able to identify children who are, who would respond to audio programs or video programs or through any other means, if they are willing to learn, let us identify those differences among the students and plan and execute our programs accordingly. So provide facilities for individual differences. Then teachers need to strive for a balanced atmosphere in which the teenager has a sense of support. We are not meeting the students directly in online classes. So we are only interacting with them through these gadgets. Again, how do we provide the sense of support and emotional safety for children is, need to be thought about. We need to give them opportunities to try new behaviors. It should not be like teachers giving lecture and the other side students, making a note of things. It should not be like that. Give them opportunity to try new behavior. So have at least 10 minutes where you can allow children to interact and, express their opinions and thoughts. Then teachers should develop the skill of flexibility to encourage the child to become creative. This is very important. Teachers should establish. Okay, then we also find that their boundaries needs to be established. Okay, teenagers, they could be playful, so boundaries needs to be established. But at the same time, give them opportunity to explore things. What are we supposed to do outside classroom? The student should be encouraged to share responsibilities with the family members. They need to communicate, they should be trained to communicate, to have good communication with family members. If we just interact with teenagers, they would say, I will just go into my room and I will attend my classes. That's all. Connection with anyone in my family. I just go have my breakfast. I'll have my lunch so whenever I want. So this communication, though they are at home together, not strong today among the family members, especially with the teenagers. So communication needs to be strengthened, and it becomes the responsibility of the teachers, because students like teachers more than the parents. They have preference for their teachers, right? Then thoughts on financial responsibility needs to be given to them, and help them formulate a philosophy of life, good values. Encourage them to stand for good values. Connect the child relatives through WhatsApp groups, YouTube. They all can together start a YouTube program. Okay, there are families which are doing this. Upper middle class families, I find they have started their own YouTube channels, uploading videos, their own programs, and it gives them a kind of satisfaction. So shift in the focus from maturing teens to a responsible citizen. Right. Now, teachers need to care for themselves. That's very important. Only when we are happy, we can connect with the students and make them happy. We can help them learn. So we need to focus on our own personal development. Today, it is a requirement that we learn about the new tools for making our online classes or taking our school or our classroom to the students' room. How are we doing this? Only if we are equipped with new skills, online tools, then we can make the classes much interesting for the children. So focus on your own personal development if you have to take your classroom to the students' room. Strengthening their own family relationship. Teachers should be happy within their own family. That's very important. So that relationship needs to be strengthened. Happy at home, happy at workplace. Teachers who had not developed the needed skills may feel threatened by the child's new development. Okay. With few teenagers, teachers will definitely have problems. So when you are not okay with your own development, when you have problems with your own teenagers, then you won't be able to have a good relationship with teenage children. Right. Now, who becomes a favorite teacher in class? So I asked this question to a group of children, and they told me they have listed out these characteristics, teachers with good communication. Good communication in the sense not being aggressive, being assertive. Okay, assertive communication, good communication, being flexible, problem solving, help them to solve problems. Teachers should help teenagers to solve problems. Then mutual caring. Okay, that's an important quality. Then provide support and trust. All these characteristics are considered as, the best characteristics. And such teachers are considered as their best teachers, disregard of whether it is a physical classroom or online classroom. So teachers with all these qualities, equipped with online skills, online tools related skills, will definitely take the classroom into the students' room. Thank you.
Ma'am?
Yes, Sharon?
We're actually open for the question and answer session. Teachers, if you have any questions, kindly post your questions. I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions with me in my hand.
Okay.
Okay. This particular teacher states that, ma'am, if the institution I work with has limitation, if it has any limitations like teacher students conduct code, where the teacher cannot have individual calls, in this situation, how can I reach the child? So basically, when you started, you said the association, like calling the students, checking upon them, it would be helpful. So this teacher post is state, if the institution has limitations
I'm
like
not
teacher.
able to hear you clearly. Maybe some network issue. Can you repeat the question?
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, now yes.
Okay, all right. So the question was, if the institution that I work with has put an code of conduct, teacher
Okay.
student code of conduct, where the teacher or the class teacher or subject teacher cannot have an individual call with the student. So in this norms, how can I reach the child?
Okay. So it is very important that we go by the rules and regulations of the management. If the management is not permitting us to meet the children, then it is not coming into our framework at all. So you won't be able to interact with the family, of course, but there is a chance that you could interact with the child. So have special time for each child, maybe around 5 minutes for each child, end of the hour, interact with them and find out what is happening in their family, understand about their family environment if the management is not permitting you to interact with the family. So we
Okay,
have to abide by the rules and regulations of the management.
that's right. All right. And I have teachers, we are actually open for questions. If you are joined with us in Zoom, you can post your questions in the chat box. And if you are with us in YouTube, you can post the questions in the comment section. And there is one more question. How can we teachers improve our mental health in this pandemic situation? How can we teachers improve our mental health?
Okay. Mental health is associated with our physical health, spiritual health, psychological health. So all these are together. So when we talk about physical health, we need to have balanced diet. That's very important. So what we intake every day actually matters. The kind of oil which we use can also, lead to other problems, physical problems. So what we eat, what we take, that matters. So balanced diet is very important. Second, exercise. The morning exercises, the breathing exercises are very good for teachers. So that's very important. Then your spiritual health, spending some time, connecting ourselves with the spiritual power is really, really good. So with this, definitely we can have good, peace of mind and, mental health to handle our children. Yes.
All right. And okay, teachers are coming up with a lot of questions there. Thank you so much for hearing to our instructions. And before I go to the question that's on the chat box, here is one question from the teacher. Ma'am, I know that a child in my class does have certain troubles that you listed. Can I address the class in general by giving specific examples and not actually talk to the child individually? So the teacher is actually asking, so can I address the problem in general with giving certain examples? In that way, can I address the child's situation?
Definitely yes. Storytelling is one particular methodology that is picking up now. So maybe through stories, we can give, some instruction or some message to the specific child that you want to address. Definitely we can do that, but the right methodology needs to be adopted. Yes.
Okay. And there is one more question that says, what about the student who get diverted, who cannot give undivided attention in an online classroom? How can I help them keep online? I think she's more into keeping the child's attention. What if a child is not hyperactive, or he or she cannot give that focus for more than 30 minutes? How can I have a hold on such students?
Okay, today we talk about schools which are inclusive, and many schools have got a special educator. So if your school has got that facility, special educator, definitely the teacher can refer the child to a special educator. If not, out of interest, you may talk to the parents and refer them to NIPMED as an organization which conducts, which has programs relevant to such children where there is assessment done on such children. So they can be referred to NIPMED, NIPMED.
All right. So that's about the question and answer session. If in case there are any questions, teachers, you can post. We will send it to ma'am so she can address our questions. Thank you so much, ma'am. Though the time that you took in explaining the concept or the cycle, the inputs was the time was very short, but you made it effective, I should say. There'll be a lot of takeaways from the talk that you gave us, and you have been very patient in answering all our questions. We did throw a lot of questions at you, and you batted 6 and 4 of it. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your patience.
Thank you, Sharon. Nice meeting.
And yes,
Nice.
ma'am.
Thank you.
And there are a couple of more questions, if you don't mind.
Sure.
How can I handle a student with inferiority complex?
Okay, inferiority complex. Right. So building self-confidence. How do you build confidence? There are many exercises. If you just browse online, we get exercises relating to building self-confidence of the child. So first thing is, any teacher should understand the family. That's very important. So familial factors play an important role in shaping the behavior of the children. So what kind of role models the children have at home needs to be identified. We need to understand that. So if the child does not have a good role model at home, definitely the teacher could become a good role model. Okay. And also plan about certain intervention programs to strengthen, the self-confidence of the child.
If a child in my class is a gamer, online gamer, and I find that the student is addicted to it, and we understand that the parents are responsible for such a behavior, but as a teacher, how can I address it?
Okay, online gaming again. The teacher can very well identify a group of children who have got similar problems. Online gaming is not an individual child's problem. We find it among many children. So putting them together and identifying why they are doing it. Is it that they don't have a good planning or schedule at home? That needs to be identified. So when you bring them together into one WhatsApp group, and the teacher should also be part of it, and find out what they are discussing in the group and what kind of guidance they need. Definitely we can change their behavior connected to this online gaming. Yes.
Correct. But if the teacher is there in the group, I don't think any student would dare to put their conversation.
So, the kind of relationship we have, where we should allow children to express freely. We should not have any restriction. So we need to be very friendly, flexible in our communication. We should go to their level. So that will not have any inhibition in sharing. I am experiencing this in my class. Okay, so they will say, ma'am, I love this girl. I'm into this relationship. Okay, they will come and show me the girl also. Okay, after that also they'll come and show. Even if they are separated, they'll come and tell me. So that kind of a connection is, connections we have with the students. And MCC is known for that friendly relationship with students, and we guide them properly.
Thank you, ma'am. You've been so patient in answering all the questions. Teachers, on behalf of you, on behalf of all the 500 participants, and also there are people on YouTube, I've been told. So on behalf of all the participants, teachers, and academicians, I take this time to thank you, Dr. Sylvia Daisy, for a thought-provoking session and the patience in answering all our questions and all our doubts. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Teachers? Okay, since we're done with the question answer session, we will move on to the next part of the webinar where, okay, as I told you earlier, dealing with a global experiment is the main topic, which we have subdivided into 4 sessions, of which today is the third. And I really hope there are a lot of feedbacks for your teachers to take from today's session. I'm clearly, within the short time that was given to her, she clearly gave, I should say, tips for us to take time. And the fourth part of this webinar will happen on 10th December. In today's session, we did handle, or we did see students of class 6 and above, these pre-teens, early teens, and teens who are at the prime, these tough nuts to crack, I should say. So we saw about students of class 6 and above. In the next session, that is the fourth session, we will be talking about students of class 5 and below, class 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, or even students of like the kindergarten students as well. We will be talking their psychological changes. So if we can identify a change, an impact, a psychological impact in a student in their early ages, we don't have to think much about when they grow up, right? So the next session, we will address student psychological change in class 5 and above. I really hope and I wish to see all the teachers who have been part of this webinar today, to see you in the next as well. You will be getting a link in your chat box. As you click on that link, you can register for the next webinar directly. In your chat box, there is a link for you to register. You can take this 2-3 minutes to register for the next webinar session. And the feedback time. And also another way of getting in touch with us, getting to know more about this next session would be a YouTube channel, which is TechnoSchool. You can subscribe a YouTube channel so that you will get a constant notification. You will be able to see the webinars that we post. Okay, and that is about the next webinar. The feedback session, the feedback time. We are now in the feedback time. Teachers, in your chat box, if you are connected with us in the Zoom app, in the chat box, you can see a link. Click on that link to fill in the feedback forms. And if you are connected with us in YouTube, you can see the link in the description box. Description box in the YouTube, you'll be able to see the link. Click on the link and you can fill the feedback. And upon filling all the details or all the questions that's asked in the feedback form, you will be receiving your certificate, as I told you initially. So we'll take a moment to do that. You can register for next session. If you're a primary teacher and wondering why am I here, this is for students 6 and above. What is my role and what did I learn here? Don't need to worry about it. We also have that in our mind. The next session would be not for students 6 and above. And if you're a teacher who handles high schools and high secondary, why should I come for the next session? Teachers, it would be useful because students from primary come to you, right? So let's all be a part of the next webinar as well. The link is in the description box in YouTube and in the chat box in Zoom. You click on it and fill it out. Your valuable feedback are going to help us to develop or to look upon things that we can talk in the next webinar. Uh, there are constant constructive feedbacks that you give us help us really well. I should mention Beena Joes ma'am from previous session. She put in the comment section saying that we want to hear more about students. So on that line, we have come up with students, and the next session is also for students. And how can a teacher handle such students? So if you have such constructive criticism or feedback, I should call it, not criticism. So constructive feedback, you can post it. We will try to work on it. So this is at the YouTube channel where you can see subscribe and get notification for the next webinars, and also the previous ones you can view. The webinar on Minding Our Mind by Dr. Miriam Samuel, and the webinar on the new jugglers, that is the art of multitasking by Tonte West, is available as a link. You can view them. So as I told you, the next webinar in the series of webinar of dealing with the global experiment is on 10th of December around 3 or 3:30 p.m. The exact timing would be sent to you to your school. So until I meet you on 10th of December, this is Sharon, and I take leave.